Biomedical engineer. So before we try to understand what is a biomedical engineer, we have to understand what exactly is biomedical engineering. In simplified terms, it's this. You got biomedical science, you got engineering, combine them together, and you get biomedical engineering. If you want the word definition, it is the application of engineering principles and design concepts to medicine and biology for healthcare purposes. That you guys know what biomedical engineering is, let's talk briefly about its history. So in 950 BCE, the first mega devices were amputees for toes, as you can see in the image to your right. They are made of wood and leather, and they are created in ancient Egypt. Now, heading towards the modern era, shortly after World War II, biomedical engineering emerged as an independent discipline. And in Canada, beginning can be traced back to the founding of the Defense Research Medical Laboratories in 1950, where the primary objective of the center was to investigate certain aspects of the interactions between humans and machines, particularly under stress. In the same year, the first practical external heart pacemaker was designed and tested, and this is when biomedical engineering started to emerge and become more popular. So now that you all know the very brief history of biomedical engineering, let's talk about what do biomedical engineers do in modern day. This can be split into three major responsibilities, with the first one being designing and developing medical diagnosis, clinical instrumentations, equipment, and procedures. Examples of this will be developing and designing artificial organs, as well as creating medical devices such as transducers used for ultrasound. The second responsibility is advising hospital administrators on planning, acquisition, and use of medical equipment, as well as just teaching the workers how to use this equipment safely. The third one is basically maintenance for the equipment, as well as just installing the equipment generally, to make sure that the device is safe to use. Like many other jobs across the world, biomedical engineers have importance in human society as they help advance the medical world. Whenever it's just solving the problem with having prosthetic limbs, artificial hearts, livers, bionic contracts, etc., but as well as assisting to solve the problem, such as the camera pill, which helps capture internal processes in the body, as well as the invention of laser surgery, and many devices that we use in modern days, such as diagnosis machines, ultrasounds, etc., which help advance the medical world. But something that probably everyone will be asking about, which is salary. How much would you get if you were become a biomedical engineer? Well, as you can see in this table, which I got from Statistics Canada, and it's updated on mid-November 2022, the lowest on average you'll get is $24.04, which is approximately about $50K per year, assuming you work 955 and no vacations, which is slightly below average. But for the median, for the salary, which will be $91,520 per year, same thing assuming 955, which is actually pretty high compared to the average Canadian income. And then you got the highest, which is $70.77, which is $145,600 per year in salary. 955, same thing, which is actually really high. And it's definitely worth considering becoming a biomedical engineer, because worst case scenario, if you get the lowest, you're still only slightly below average. So now let's talk about the requirements to become a biomedical engineer. So first things first is you want a bachelor's degree. However, it doesn't have to be bioengineering. You could take something that, as long as it's engineering, like a mechanical engineer, it still works. If you want to advance further, it's still fine to take a master's degree in the related engineering discipline if you want. Of course, you also need licensing by a provincial or territorial association of professional engineering, also called PENG, if you want to become a bioengineering Canada, obviously. If in America, you probably don't have to do this. As well as the fact you need 3 to 4 years of supervised work experience in engineering to become one. In order to become a biomedical engineer, not only do you have to fill the requirements that I previously stated, but also you want to have good analytical skills, because biomedical engineers must have assesses of the needs of patients and customers prior to designing products. They also should have good communication skills, because biomedical engineers sometimes work with patients and customers and frequently work on teams. And they must be able to express themselves clearly in discussions, as well as writing reports and research paper. They also should have good creativity, as they must be creative to come up with innovations in healthcare equipment and devices. If you're becoming a biomedical engineer, you also have to have good math skills because they use calculus and other advanced math and statistics for analyst design and troubleshooting in their work, as well as problem-solving skills, which biomedical engineers typically deal with, integrate biological systems, and they must be able to work independently and with others to incorporate the ideas into a complex problem-solving process. So unfortunately, since I couldn't be able to find any good reliable Canadian sources, I have to use the US Bureau of Labor Statistics instead. So this is just US data, but so just keep that in mind. So as for May 2022, there have been approximately 19,210 biomedical engineers in the US, and the job outlook for 2021 to 2031 is projected to have an about 10% increase in employment, which is really above average since the average for increase in employment is 5% for any typical job. Talk about the work setting for our biomedical engineers. So they usually work in laboratories, workshops, manufacturing plants, research institutes, clinics, and hospitals. There is a risk of injury though, as they may encounter hazardous materials or other workplace safety risks as they complete projects. Most biomedical engineers work full-time, with some of them work more than 40 hours per week because they have to meet their research deadlines as well as working along with patients, and it may take time. Sometimes you may have to work on weekends to just accomplish the requirement. Let's wrap things up with some major pros and cons of being a biomedical engineer. So let's start with the pros. First is you have high impact because creations you make, such as creating artificial organs, will impact the medical world severely. And second thing is it has a pretty good salary, as I previously stated as well. The median in Canada for being a biomedical engineer is $44 per hour, which is relatively pretty good. And third thing is there's a demand in the market, and as I previously stated as well, the increase for employment rate is 10%. Projected compared to the average, which is 5%. The cons, however, is degree requirement because you would want a master's degree in order to advance further in being a biomedical engineer. Second thing is work hours, because sometimes you might have to OT, work on weekends, work all night, so that you can reach your deadlines. And last but not least is risk of injury, because accidents may happen, especially if you're handling dangerous materials. And yeah, that should be about it. Thanks for watching, everyone. This made you decide if you want to become a biomedical engineering or not. And here are my citations.